So who's ready for story time with Georgie Wanaka, baby? Today, on today's edition of the Gripe Session, we are going to have a conversation about the Inflation Reduction Act. Is it really reducing inflation?
It's Gripe Session time with your host, George Wanaka.
It's about nothing.
Discussing everything from real estate, current events, a little bit of everything, and the annoying little things that just tick you off.
You can't handle the truth.
What? You didn't know?
Here's your host, George Wanaka.
Your ass better call somebody.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to today's edition of the Gripe Session podcast. For all of you watching on YouTube, we definitely appreciate the support, but I want to get right into it today because it's been a little while since I've come on, done a Gripe Session, so let's just get right into it, shall we? So, a couple of weeks ago, maybe even a little bit longer, our government passed this so-called Inflation Reduction Act. And it's been hailed as this wonderful thing that is going to help make things cheaper for us, to deal with the issues of inflation going on right now, and to kind of settle everything down a little bit. So we've been into this for a couple weeks now. Let's see how we're doing, shall we? Well, let's see. Inflation is still burning away. Nothing's changing. Our gas prices, nothing's really going on with those. But I have a feeling what's going to happen with those gas prices, mind you, as we get closer to the election, as we get closer to the midterms in November. Let's see if gas prices start to go down. And if they do start to go down, ladies and gentlemen, why do you think that might be? Do you think it might have something to do with the fact that the country is getting ready to go to the voting booth? And if prices are still astronomical, they're going to take it out on the party that's in control. Wouldn't you say? But I digress for a minute. Let's go back to the Inflation Reduction Act for a second. Now, first and foremost, the big thing that comes out of the Inflation Reduction Act is the fact that the government is adding up to 80,000 more IRS workers. Now, I want everybody to think about that for a second here, okay? Think about 80,000 more IRS workers. Now, what the other side is going to tell you is that those 80,000 workers are going to go after the rich, the mean and the powerful rich, right? But let's figure this out for a minute. All of the rich that are out there that make all of this money, do you think that over the years that possibly they might have their own IRS representative with them because they make so much money? And if you start to look at the amount of people that have that kind of wealth in the United States, you're not talking about an exorbitant amount of people, right? You're talking about the top 1%, which the IRS as a government entity and a government section, if you will, should easily be able to have enough people to take care of those others. Which begs the question, who do you think those 80,000 IRS agents are really for? The super rich? Well, no, they already have people left for them. Well, it doesn't take quantum physics to figure this out, ladies and gentlemen. They're for you and for me. They're for small businesses. They're for the mom and pops. They're the middle class. That's who they're going after, not the super rich. They've already got their people. They already know what those numbers are. They're going after the rest of us. So the party that claims to be about the people are going after the people to tax them. Where does that have anything to do with reducing inflation? Well, we're going to get right back to the Gripe Session podcast, but before we do, we got to have a word from our sponsors over here at bestguyever.com. Make sure you never forget an important date ever again. Never forget any important dates with your wife, your daughter, your sister, your mother, or your mother-in-law for that matter. We want you here to be the bestguyever.com. And by the way, bestguyever.com helps your local small businesses. So it is a win-win for you. Not only can you be the bestguyever.com for those people that love you, but you can also support your local small businesses because bestguyever.com only deals with local small businesses. That's right. So make sure you get to www.bestguyever.com and subscribe. And by the way, let them know that you found out from us from the Gripe Session podcast. And because you're coming from the Gripe Session, we were able to get you a little bit of a deal for them as well. What's that deal, you say? Well, once you register, put in Gripe Session in the promo code. That's Gripe Session. And you're going to get 1 year free subscription to be the best guy ever. That's right. 1 free subscription by putting in Gripe Session in your promo code, and you're going to get a year for free. You can't have it any better than that. So make sure you go check out bestguyever.com and let them know the Gripe Session pulled you in. And now, back to our local program. If the government was so concerned about reducing inflation, here's a free tip. Stop spending money. Stop giving it away for nothing. Stop being like Oprah Winfrey. You get a car, and you get a car, and you get a car. That's not how this world works, ladies and gentlemen. It's not. You want to know how to reduce inflation? You have to get people back to work, back to putting out a product that people want to buy, back to providing work ethic. People say, well, what does work ethic have to do with inflation reduction? Well, I'm going to tell you right now. It's very simple. As you're watching this, feel free to comment in YouTube or any of the social medias. I have a question for you. Are we better off today than we were 5 years ago, 10 years ago? Do people feel like they're getting their dollar's worth when they're spending money? When you're spending money for a service, do you feel like you're getting more? Or do you feel like the service is down? Do you feel like the product is not the same quality? Now, for the people that I talk to, ladies and gentlemen, that's what everybody's saying. Why do businesses have always looking for hires, looking for people to work? When the government gives away free money, you take away the incentive for people to work. You take the motivation away from people to work. We cannot have that, ladies and gentlemen, because the result of not having people work and produce a product means the value of the dollar is going to go down because we're mass producing the dollar. We're just printing paper at that point. There's no value associated with it. So all of these ridiculous bills that come out that have nothing to do with reducing inflation, but they put it at reducing inflation because nobody in the media is ever going to call out that these things don't reduce inflation. They just don't. Go back to economics when you took it in school. Supply and demand. If you keep printing money and you have an oversupply, what happens to the demand? It's not worth the same amount. The most things that are most valuable in this world, ladies and gentlemen, are the things that are what? Scarcity. That is the issue that we're having nowadays, ladies and gentlemen. It's not about more money in taxes. It's really not. Because all taxes are supposed to do are be able to pay our bills. The problem is when you keep spending like a drunken sailor, or you keep spending all as a kid with a credit card that doesn't know what it is to pay that credit card off. These are the fruits of that labor. So with that being said, I'd love to hear what your opinions are. If you follow me on YouTube on Living in Staten Island, please feel free to comment in the sections below. Let me know what your opinions are on that. And if you agree with the podcast or don't agree with the podcast, I'd love to hear you on the social medias. You can find me on TikTok. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me all over the place. With that being said, I want to thank you for watching today's edition of the Gripe Session Podcast and listening to today's edition of the Gripe Session Podcast. We definitely appreciate the support. We will get back to you very shortly with another episode of the Gripe Session. And until then, make sure you do something nice for somebody that you wouldn't normally do. And real important, especially today, please make sure you tell your loved ones that you love them, because the one thing that we never know is when our time is up, our time is up. So make sure you tell everybody that you love them. Don't wait till it's too late to be able to not have that conversation any longer. With that being said, have a great day. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for listening to The Gripe Session. Please follow us on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram.